Each winter, Nathan Fogden's forestry contracting business plants around 2.5 million trees. Nathan's been in forestry since he was a teenager and is now the director of his own business, employing around 50 staff in one of the toughest industries in New Zealand.
Inta Forestry Limited is a silvicultural contracting business. We're based in Te Puke, but we cover right across the central North Island and Waikato area. We have crews based in Rotorua, Hamilton and Tauranga. I started off as a young fella planting trees 21 winters ago, and after a rocky start, because it is a tough job, I decided that I'd make a go at trying to be a contractor. We operate in the hardest of environments. We do what I would consider equally, if not one of, the toughest jobs in New Zealand. We deal with all sorts of weather conditions, we deal with all sorts of terrains. We have a limited time through the winter to plant trees, and we're under a lot of pressure. There's less people that are prepared to do this work now, and thus that creates work pressure upon those of us that are prepared to do it. Then we come out of the planting season and we get into pruning, and the pressure's not quite as much, but there's still pressure there. We're one of the bigger contracting businesses, particularly in the central North Island area, and we have a lot of work. So we really need to keep a planting or pruning crew stocked up at about 10 guys, a crew manager and 9 operators, and it is very hard to do that. We're struggling to attract people to our industry now, and I think that's predominantly because of the money and what's required of the boys. This is one of the hardest jobs, like I say, and I think we're asking a lot of the boys long days, and we need to look at that.
There's one other we do the same plotting system as what the forest company does, or whoever we're working for will run plots the same way that they're going to do their plotting.
As an industry, we've become very focused on drug and alcohol abuse and trying to manage that by drug testing and things like that, which I fully support. And PF Olsen, the company we're working for here, they lead the way in that, and we're supportive and we want to be part of that as well. But it does cause constraints around available labour sources, and I see at the moment there is opportunity for growth. We're not in a financial position to do that currently though, that's the problem. And it's about having the right people to manage those crews as well.
Home test and away, eh? Right, so you jump on the next one and give that a go, and me and Mike will check this one and see how it pans out.
Romati Morgan, my operations manager, my second in charge, he's currently doing an induction on 2 new employees.
Just kick the dates on it, eh?
Yeah. You give it a bit of a stomp test, yeah, that's the one.
This is the Mamaku forest between Rotorua and Tauranga.
Yep.
We're planting radiata pine out here that's been grown in a tree nursery in Tokoroa. This is for PF Olsen. They manage this forest here for Ontario Teachers Pension Plan. The boys are planting 833 trees per hectare, re-establishing the forest after it's been harvested here. This is a box of trees, 100 trees to a box. The target in here is about 12 of these a day. There's 9 planters. There's a man walking in and out with an aluminium frame on his back. He's what we call the donkey. His job is to get boxes of trees into the boys to plant in the back of the block, save the boys walking out to get a box of trees. It just makes them more productive and keeps everything flowing. This block here, it's been largely flat. It's had a lot of land prep done on it. What's been harvested, with the compression of machines going over it, it becomes quite hard to plant, so it's been raked with a digger, and then it's been spot cultivated in places. So where it's so compact that we would struggle to dig the cultivation with a spade, it's mounded up. Mound's about a metre diameter hunk of dirt there that's been softened up, and the tree gets planted up on top of that mound. Other parts of the block are just raked, and the boys have to manually cultivate the soil, and then there's cut over patches where it's too steep for a machine to have got on. We've got a pretty rigid quality control process here. The forest managers will put in quality control plots at a rate of around about a plot per 3 hectares. That plot is a 600 square metre circular area, and they'll go through that and they'll dig up 16 trees. If 3 of those trees have faults, we're expected to replant the 3 hectares around that plot. So we have to do the job properly. We set the standard for the forest here for the next 25 years as well, so it's important that we plant every tree properly. So I come through and I'm looking for firmness. I'm looking for the tree planted in the centre of the cultivated area, whether that be an area that we've cultivated manually or whether the machine's done it. We're looking for tree depth and roots down. So we're putting the spade right down the side of the tree. We never go in too much of an angle because you wouldn't want to chop the roots of the tree. We pop it out. We're looking for a lot of excess needle stripping here, obviously, as well. This is not too bad here. It's pretty good, actually. And we're looking at these roots are all nicely down. Our depth was good. So that was a well-planted tree. And then obviously the guy that does the QC has got to plant the tree properly again. We open a hole using the lock and lever technique. The tree goes down nice and deep. Soil back around, pulled up and firmed. A little bit of a tightness test to make sure it's okay, and away we go. There's production pressures, but if you don't learn a good technique right from the word go, and don't have a bit of ethic about trying to do it properly, like you've got to have some self-respect about the quality of the job you're doing. If you can get the technique right first and then build upon speed, that is the best way to get it done properly. Over the last 2 planting seasons that generally start in May and end in early September, we've planted on average 2.5 million trees. We're around beside Lake Rotoiti. This is a block, Haumingi 1A2 incorporation. So it's a mouldy truss block that P.F. Olsen manage. We're probably 30 minutes out of Rotorua. We planted this in 2004. This is the final waste thinning operation. So everything that hasn't been pruned has now been cut out, unless for some reason there's a gap that we need to leave an unpruned tree in just to fill a gap. And it's been felled from approximately say around 900 stems per hectare down to 350 to 380 stems per hectare. Pruning is very important in that it keeps us working all year round. The planting will go for 4, maybe 5 months through the winter, and we need that pruning work to keep our labour force working all year round. It's an unfortunate sign of the times, though, is that the pruning budgets have been reduced with most of the companies we work for. And so we do still have enough pruning to carry on with at the moment. Hopefully that will continue. We have enough work to keep 5, maybe 10 guys thinning all year round as well currently. Compliance costs have escalated dramatically in the 16 years I've been contracting. We started off where the job was almost treated like casual work, but this is a profession. My guys are professionals and they are treated as such, but there's compliance costs in terms of health and safety regulations, legal obligations to my employees, that it costs a lot to manage this business and operate this business. We can't afford to have someone hurt out here. From time to time, things do happen, and you've got to be able to manage those appropriately and meet the obligations as set out by the Health and Safety and Employment Act. This is the end of the road for us with this forest, so we can walk away now after 9 years, and the trust, through P.F. Olsen as the manager, we've given them a complete finished forest, and that is it's satisfying, yeah.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.